Hello and welcome to Witchy Wellness Radio. I'm your host, Lauren Chalantani, women's holistic health coach and fellow recovering perfectionist. This podcast was created to show you that your body is not in the way, it is actually leading your way. Hello, welcome back to Witchy Wellness. You are listening to episode 146, Frequency Activations with Kymberly Castro. But before we jump into today's amazing episode, a word from our sponsor, Living the Good Life Naturally Magnesium. This is my go-to brand for transdermal or on-the-skin magnesium supplementation. Transdermally is the easiest way and most effective way you can absorb the magnesium into your body. Things like your stress level, your diet, and so many other factors go into your magnesium burn rate. If you want to learn more about this, listen to episode 73 of Witchy Wellness Radio and make sure to go to Living the Good Life Naturally's website in the show notes and use code WITCHY, WICTHY, for 10% off of your purchase. And without further ado, please enjoy episode 146, Frequency Activations with Kymberly Castro. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Witchy Wellness Radio. And today we are with the lovely Kymberly Castro. And this is a show you learn how your body and emotions are not in the way, but actually leading the way. And Kymberly, our guest today, is an author, spiritual teacher, divine channel, energy healer, and medium. She's a certified Reiki Master, ColorLight practitioner, and yoga teacher for 10 years, and has so many other gifts to offer in her spiritual toolbox. She's also the host of Living Intuitively with Kymberly Castro Podcast, and is a conscious creator of multiple online intuitive development classes, energy healing courses, and activated coaching programs. She is blessed with many gifts and abilities that allow her to connect her inner wisdom for guidance, healing, and purpose on a deeper soul level. There is so much wisdom she wishes to share with everybody here, and she can help you tap into your own inner wisdom for the answers and connections you seek in order to remember who you are on a soul level and awaken the light and power within. Welcome to the show, Kymberly.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. Thank you. And welcome everybody, all the listeners. I'm so excited to be here. I was up in the middle of the night just wondering what we're going to talk about, and my guides and my energy. I just feel like we're just going to have so much fun in this episode. So I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. We talked a little bit off air and I'm ready to dive into that. But before we dive into it, I love to always ask, how did you get into doing all this beautiful work that you do? Author, channel, healer. I always love people's journeys, because sometimes it's a huge awakening, but sometimes it's just a peeling back over a lifetime. But it's so powerful to hear the process and how you got to do the work that you do today.
Yes. And it's sometimes something we don't think about. We don't think about how long our journey's been, and it's a lifelong thing, and it keeps on going. And it, like you said, it unfolds in layers like a beautiful flower, like petal by petal. And sometimes, it opens easily and sometimes it doesn't. And it's a constant awakening and reshifting and re-energizing yourself and reflection and giving yourself time to breathe. And then when it's time to, move forward. So I have always, I just come from a family, I didn't know this before, just sensitive people. I have 2 sisters, super sensitive, and a whole other family on the father's side that, I don't really know, but I know they were, very intuitive, and which everybody is, but there's different levels to it, as you know. And some of it's just, awakens within us a little bit sooner than others. And sometimes we put it away and, ignore it. And I think it's time that a lot of people are awakening and waking up and realizing that they can't ignore their intuition, their inner feelings, and their gut. And it's really the GPS, their compass, that is telling them where to go and how to get there. And if they ignore it, they're going to miss their exit. They're going to miss that street, and they're going to hit that, that traffic, then they're going to hit those obstacles. So it's about learning to just stop, moving, and not really stopping to listen to your body, listening to your heart and your soul, because your soul and your heart has all the answers. Everything you ever want to know and need to know is in your heart. But we don't listen. We don't stop. We're too busy. Like you said, we're too busy to meditate. We're too busy to take a walk. We're too busy to this. No, we're not. If you really want to do it, you make the time, you make the time, to, go to hang out with your friends, or there is time. There is time if you want to, make it. So for me, I've always been sensitive, and it started with my dreams when I was younger. My grandmother lived with us at one point. She has passed on, and that little time that she lived with us, I remember telling her about it was some weird dream I had. And then she made this big, huge deal about this dream because what it meant to her was bad. It meant like someone was going to pass away. So in that time within my dream, and, it kind of like rattled me a little bit enough to say something about it. And she was listening, and she was like, ooh, that's not good. I was like, what? So I was afraid to tell anyone about my dreams after that, because someone did pass away in real life, within like a few days of my dream. And it happened a couple of more times without me telling anybody about this dream. So I used to keep it inside. I used to be like, oh my God, I was afraid to dream. I was like, oh my God, what does that mean? So that's my journey started with dreams. And I remember just being younger, playing. I remember being like in third grade, playing hide and go seek with my friend, hiding in her closet and closing my eyes and like seeing people, and I remember like, oh my God. So in my mind, I always knew, dreams are bad. This is what I told myself. Dreams are bad, or the ones I have. And I can see people when I close my eyes. So I always, kind of hid that and kind of like sheltered that and just kept that in, the back of my mind. And, fast forward all these years, my father passed about 22 years ago, and I started trying to connect with him. No one told me. I didn't know what medium was. I didn't know anything about that stuff, but I heard that, you could connect with them. So I had made this I used the key. I made my own pendulum with a house key and dental floss, and I still have it 23 years later. And I used to go through like letter by letter, like, yes, tell me that you're here. Give me a Y. And I wait for this little thing to spin. Give me an N, So I used to spell, it used to take me like an hour to spell out like a hello from him, but I knew I was connecting, no one can tell me different. So that's kind of the journey started when he passed, and connecting to him. And then these books back then, it wasn't easy like it is now. You couldn't go to the store and find out or talk about, intuition or metaphysics or people that passed away. It wasn't as open. Everyone was like, hush, hush, don't talk about it, and, I got into the angels and started reading books, and I absorbed everything I could, all these classes. And I had teachers that came from Holland, and every year they came, I would do their energy classes and get certified in, in Reiki and, ColorLight therapy. And so I have all these tools, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all this? And I kept waiting and waiting, and you wait and you don't know what to do with it sometimes, and you don't know who to talk to. Sometimes it's kind of lonely. It's lonely not knowing, who you could talk to, because you're worried about what people are going to think. They think you're a little out there, you're a little whatever. But to me, I'm like, now, fast forward all these years, I don't feel like that. I feel like they need to catch up, because they're missing out on all the gifts and all the blessings and all this, these miracles that could happen in the unknown and unseen and untapped into, just because it's invisible, just like Wi-Fi, you can't see how the phone and everything's connecting, but it's connecting. Things are happening behind the scenes. You see that ocean, it's teeming with things under, in the void, but you go underneath that water, you scuba dive, you go swimming under there. There's a whole other life you don't see that exists. So same thing with our inner wisdom. So that's what I feel like I'm here to do, is help seek to inspire people to go within, and it's not just meditating. It's just really just getting silent for a moment, So that's kind of what led me here. So the author that was channeling, I was afraid to come out with this book and be like, hey, that's my first book ever. I channeled Jesus, and it's a devotional book. It's a very short read, but it's not about the read. It's about, connecting to the words, connecting to whether it's Jesus or God or, Buddha, whoever you call the universal source, that higher being, that higher self, your soul, whatever you want to name it, but there's something else greater and bigger than you. And that's where the inspiration, came through, but it came through me, through Jesus, because I, went with my husband for 40 days straight for Lent. We're like, hey, it's a good idea to go 7:30 church for 40 days straight. We ended up going for like almost a year. Every single morning, Monday through Sunday, every single morning, my husband and I will roll out of bed before work and go 7:30 mass. And from the first day I went, I had all these visions, and Jesus would come and I would write what he had to say. And for months I sat on this. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. And then I kept hearing, it's a book. It's a book. I'm like, no, it's not a book. And I'm not coming out and doing that. But I finally got over, I'm like, okay, if you are telling me, and I feel it in my soul to do this, I need to do this, not for me, just so help those other people that need to hear it and tap into it. Who am I to keep this? But it takes a while to get to that place, so that's where I am right now. But I'm trying to share. Thank you. I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot of things that go on, as you know, and you keep evolving. And some days you're like, yes, I'm going to, stand on the rooftop and shout that everybody needs to do this. Then the other time you're like, ooh, I don't know. I need to, go home, get on my couch, put my binky on and just, and don't go out because you have to rejuvenate yourself. You have to rest. So it's kind of that roller coaster, but
yeah, it's a balance. And for me, and there's no end point of healing or ascension. If we were ascended masters, we wouldn't be here, is my opinion,
right.
Like Jesus,
yes.
Not here. But for me, it's realizing it's always peeling back the onion. It's a journey. And those days that you don't feel like taking on the world, that's okay to sit with that, to be with that, because you don't want to push it down or ignore it, because what you resist persists louder and louder and louder. And beautifully said, your journey is that example of, your dreams as a little girl, of all that lower root chakra, sacral chakra energy of shame and guilt, fear. It's not good to have these dreams because it made, grandma upset. People ended up dying because, XYZ,
yes.
As a little kid, you don't have that filter subconsciously to realize, okay, you just think, oh no, my dreams are bad. It made grandma upset, etc. And to see your transformation and journey to owning this, to channeling a book by Jesus, where you're like, really? Are you sure?
Yes. And it's hard to even come out and say that, but then I even have, people that love me are like, do you really believe this? And I'm like, yes. And believe me, it's hard to just come out there, and then I had someone else going, that's not really a book because it's not that big. And I was like, okay, well, there's coloring books, there's little books, and it's not about how many words are in the book. It's about the energy. It's about connecting people that need to hear those words at that time. They know what to do, but sometimes you just need that other person or that right timing or that right cycle in your life to really hear it, where it opens you up and awakens that dormant part of you, that little spark, that little star, that fire that needs to, get brighter and brighter.
Totally agree. And for me, it's realizing that, I know you and I are into this kind of stuff, and I feel like the past, 10 years for sure, it's become mainstream, which is great to a certain degree. But I think as a society, as a culture, as a world as a whole, we like to ignore that pain or what I would say trauma, not in a bad way, that stored dense energy that we hold from this lifetime or multiple lifetimes or dimensions, whatever you want to say, that's in our bodies. And myself included, I like to go outside of my body into these higher realms.
Yes.
Without doing this embodiment work, without releasing this stored energy that's in my body. And that can make us feel really bogged down and like stuck in this gunky, slow thing called time on Earth and this 3D,
Yes. But a lot of people don't realize that it's possible to do that. But like you said, sometimes and I'm just saying you and I, we like to stay in the higher realms for a long time. And, we have to realize, and we realize we're in this human body, we're having this experience. So even all the inspiration, everything we get, we have to bring that down to reality and kind of ground that into something actionable that we could do for our businesses, for our clients and everything like that. But there's also that, like you said, like the clearing out that we need to do, like our home, our closets get full of stuff and you don't know what's behind that box because you haven't seen it for 10 years. And you don't need to know in that box because you didn't miss it for 10 years. There's nothing really that needs, that you need right now. So you could there's the things that you could just be cleared out right away. Don't even have to think about it. You can let somebody else go in that closet. Haven't seen it in that storage room. Go get it. There's the other stuff. I want to take a little bit more time because there's pictures and, and these boxes have, sentimental things. So you might take a little bit more time at that. It's a little bit more delicate, but it's like our body is like our phone where we have all these apps and we have all these documents and these downloads that slow us down. And they really slow us down to a place that we forget who we are. We're like, what do I even like? I'm not even having fun doing this. It's like, I get up, I go do whatever, I go to work or take care of the kids. And, you go to whatever you have to do. And you're like in this routine and this Groundhog Day and you're just pedaling through life. And there's nothing exciting because you don't even see it because it's kind of cloudy. It's like the mirror is kind of foggy. Everything's kind of dirty, but if you clean it out, if you clean out that closet, if you, clean out your phone, take out all those emails you don't need, remove the documents, those apps you haven't used in a long, delete, and your phone gets faster. You keep it, the battery power. So same thing with our thoughts, and the energies that we're around. Instead of absorbing them all the time, take time to give yourself permission. And there's like energetic statements and words that you say, like, I release, is a big one. I release, any energies that are around in me, all layers of my body, all directions of time, all aspects of me. Just let it go and let it recycle into the earth if you like. And if you're actually quiet and you listen to yourself, you feel it falling away. Like right now, my hands, my whole body is just energized because it's my energy healing going into, this space right now, holding this sacred space, this container for people that are ready to let go. So whatever's in your heart, just give yourself permission. I let go of anything. I release anything in my heart that no longer serves me, and I've been guided, my next book that I'm working on, it's the 9 chambers of the heart. Apparently there's 9 chambers of the heart, energetic spaces in the heart. This is not your actual heart, physical heart. That holds the shame, the forgiveness, the anger, all these areas that we don't like to look into, that we've been holding on since we were born, and in our bloodline and in our, history, and our mother passed on and whatever my father passed, it's in there in our DNA. So energetically speaking, you can release them, but when you release stuff, you're making room for other things. And if you've had it there for so long, you don't want to just take it out and, have all this empty space, because you're still going to feel like maybe you're missing something because you held on to something for so long. So you also have to let go or release. You don't need to know what it is, unless you want to know the details, but release that extra stuff, that box you never knew about. Somebody else could throw it out for you, and invite. I invite is, one of the key statements. I invite love into my heart. I invite, joy into my heart, to my soul, to my space, to my home. I like to do it that way because it's my all of me, because it's not just my heart. It's not just my soul. It's not just my energy that I want joy and love. I want it in my home. I want it in my relationships. So the more detail you get, the more expanded the energy is and the more you reach. Like giving that order to your waiter or waitress, the more detail, they could go tell, the chef, no, they want this, they want that, they want this. And it's going to come back to you. If you go, oh, I just bring me whatever, they're going to bring you whatever, and you're like, I don't like soup, I don't want that mush. I want, creme brulee, and I want the steak with the lobster and whatever. So make sure if you're going to be specific, really figure out, what do I really need? What do I want to invite in? That joy, that love, that peace, that abundance. But, and it's that easy, but especially with the certain phrases, they're words of power. And when we put them together in a sequence, it's like a universal truth, universal laws, that the way you sequence them, it's like you're plugging into the code of what you need. Do you use any of those?
I'm into a lot of breath work right now, of, moving that energy, that old stuff up and out, and channeling my own energy from my own vital force energy, reclaiming that, right? And channeling that in my body. And I go in and out of different practices, whatever's calling to me. Right now, I'm in that breathwork stage, but I know we wanted to maybe try out an activation. Have you give us a quantum leap, if you will?
Yes. So this is stuff I've been doing for years, but a lot of it's either with, friends and family. And I'm my own guinea pig. I experiment on myself all the time. So there are energies, there are activations, there are alignments, there are transmissions, there are codes of light. All these things are accessible to us. Like we get our phone, it says, update available. Sometimes you're like, I don't have time to plug in my phone. I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm not sure what's going to happen. So you're like, I'll wait. But then your phone is running slow. So your body is running slow. You're accumulating all this energy from everything you do. So I asked my guys the other day, I'm like, because I have a group, Enlighten Me, on Facebook. And I was like, what can I do? What can I do for them? And what can I do for this podcast that is good for everybody that's listening? So, and I heard, quantum leap acceleration grid of light activation. I'm like, what is that? I don't know. So I said, what is this? So I'll tell you what it is. And then it's really just getting quiet, and I'll guide you through it. Quiet, close your eyes, make sure you're not going to be distracted. If you don't have time to do that with your eyes closed, which I like the eyes closed because you're not being distracted by what you see. And if you don't realize that, that you could see visually, like clairvoyantly or something, you're going to miss the lights and the codes or whatever else that might happen. You might miss what you're hearing because you're watching the external and listening to external things going on. So the quantum leap acceleration grid of light activation, this is what my guides told me. It's a universal light transmission download filled with light codes and upgrades to assist your energy in gently and naturally attuning and calibrating to the new universal energies that we are being surrounded by in our current times. These energies will help you up-level your vibration energy to match the flow of all that is available to you at this frequency. It's like upgrading your phone and computer, like I said, upgrade the software to keep with the changes that are occurring behind the scenes and the energy that you may not be aware of logically, but can actually feel that are holding you back energetically. So this is actually an opportunity to energize yourself and life so you could navigate these energies changes in our environment more easily, so you can feel more connected and less fatigued and grounded. So I would just ask you to close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, ground your energy. You might want to relax your shoulders, relax your legs, relax your arms, and just keep breathing, because that breath really has energy, power, and it's really almost like the fuel that connects you to your soul, to your inner wisdom, to your energy. So I'm just going to say a few things. And again, like I was talking about, these statements, these words of power that come together, and your soul knows what it needs on a deeper level. So if you feel like this isn't for you, nothing without your permission is going to happen. But if your soul wants it and needs it, it's going to be gentle, it's going to be beautiful, but close your eyes and see what you experience. But really tune into all your senses. Tune into your sense of sight, your hearing, your smell, your taste, your knowing. And I would suggest after maybe writing down what you felt, what you saw, because a lot of times the information you get or the experience you have kind of fades away later on. So it's better that you write it down if you want to go back to later and see, how you've changed, how you evolved, and what you experienced. And again, you can do this over and over again if you'd like. So close your eyes, keep breathing, and just repeat this in your heart, in your mind. I accept the quantum leap acceleration grid of light activation. I allow the transmissions of light codes to be downloaded onto me for my highest and purest potential, legacy, perfection, and alignment at this time. I request that the pure energies and codes be gently, easily, and naturally downloaded as they calibrate my energetic grid of light blueprint and matrix through all of my cells and all aspects of me as it was intended from universal, conscious, and divine light. Thank you for this gift. It is done. So again, I accept the quantum leap acceleration grid of light activation. So you're accepting it. If you don't feel like you're catching up to the words or able to repeat it, it's okay. Like I said, your energy, your body feels it. I allow the transmissions of light codes to be downloaded. I request that the pure energies and codes be gently, easily, naturally downloaded. And say thank you, and just sit there for a few moments and just feel, if you could feel the tingles, if you could feel the light moving, if it feels brighter. And it takes time for this energy to calibrate. Sometimes you witness it immediately. Like when first time I did it, I just seen lots of codes coming in through the top of my head and very bright light. And I could feel it going down my body and my chakras and landing in different areas. So it's going to be different for everyone. And then a lot of times, in our dreams, things are revealed that you actually, like a shift happened, or you could see what was healed, what was shifted. But sometimes that alone could be just the key and the codes that you need to awaken and start that process. So were you able to feel anything? I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Definitely my crown.
Yay.
Top of my head, definitely opening up. It was beautiful. I get like little tingly feelings, the top of my head. Very, very grounding. I would say, now it's opening up even more. I'm talking about it, but definitely downloading and opening up a lot.
And it's whatever your soul needs at the time. It's going to be different for everybody. Some people, if they're not as used to, like we are working with our energy and our chakras, they don't know what they're looking for. But, so for you, you're explaining, you feel the tingles, and it almost feels like it's getting bigger or wider, I think sometimes. Yeah. And then it might land somewhere else. And you said you've been working with that root chakra. So it might start to land there and start to really ground, like you said, your energy. And so you can start to embody everything you're working towards. And yay. Okay,
yay,
good.
Thank you. Oh, that's beautiful. Welcome. I love experiencing things on air. I'm like, oh, I get to receive all this goodness too. I just got to keep it here so I can hold conversation and
Yes. Stay grounded.
Yeah. So talking about, shifting in, we talked about that Groundhog Day feeling, right? For me, another way of saying that is like being too stuck in the 3D or I guess lower energy centers that are not bad, but that have maybe some stored trauma or energy in there.
Yes.
A lot of people talk about in the energy world, shift to 5D or the ascension path, or there's so many different ways, or shifting into your heart. I'd love to hear kind of your take on that. because we are humans living a human experience. But my belief is that we're here to ascend to these higher frequencies, but in our bodies.
Yes. And and that's where I go into, remind, the listeners too. That's why I say go within for the answers, because there are so many different points of views and lots of frame of references, but people are different levels. Some of them have been doing it for a lot longer and practicing a lot longer. Some they're really just beginning and they're not sure. So they're like, what's this 2D, 3D, 5D? I don't know where I am. I'm a little lost, but they said this. And like you said, it's more mainstream about what we've been doing naturally behind the scenes, you and I, and, all these women that we've been working with lately in that course. So it's like, listen to your heart and your guidance, because someone's talking about, 3D, 4D, you might never get there because it's just not your path. You might not do that. So it's listen to your heart, figure out where you are, and then figure out what you need. And, take what you can from like this podcast, from other people's opinions, from their books, from wherever you're getting your information. If it resonates with you, go explore that. I say go explore it, experience whatever you can. I think that's amazing. That's exciting. And that's beautiful. But don't take everything everyone's saying, because that might not work for you. I travel, but I've been doing this for years. I go right to the creator. I go, I work with the chakras and the meridians, and I work with coloring crystals. I work with the masters and the guides and the councils and the galactic councils. And I mean, it sounds like all out there, but you work with the goddesses and all these different planes of existence. I read there's only 7 planes of existence. And for a while, that's all I explored. And then I'm like, hey, wait a second. Is there more available? They're like, yes. I'm like, but are they available to me? Yes, there's more available, but you have to do the work. You have to do the practice. It takes patience. It takes time before you could move up. It's like school. You're not going to go from kindergarten 1+1 to, get your graduate's degree or get, your doctorate in something. You're not doing that. There's like all this time, all this practice, all this studying you have to do. Sometimes it happens like that. Things like that do happen. But a lot of times it's the constant going in, like, people are like, oh, I don't have time to meditate. I think my whole day is a meditation. I'm meditating when I'm walking the dog. I'm talking to my guides. I'm in the shower. I'm just, everything I do, I'm like having a whole other conversation with, if someone could actually see what's happening, they think they're talking to me in person. I'm like, oh yeah. I was talking to this one over here, But like you said, you have to remember that you're in this experience with this other person, so they can't see that. So you have to be grounded, and that's great. You have all this stuff, but bring it down to earth, and you got to feel everything else. You have to enjoy where you are. It's nice to escape, but to also bring that back into your body, and how does that feel, and how does that work for you? And this doesn't mean get stuck there, but explore it. And give yourself permission. You don't always have to be high up here doing all this stuff. You could enjoy, a nice walk. You could go somewhere with someone and your friends and have fun that have no idea about this other world that exists, because it's, every person has something different, to offer. So I think you have to be down on earth, but you could still do the work up there. Like that's a hard balance. Because some people are like, oh, get down here. I'm like, wait a second, I'm busy. I know the days when my body's like, that's too much. You keep giving so much energetically, that you have to stay down here and, live, among everybody else. So I don't know. It's an ongoing thing. It's not, I don't think anybody has the answers. I think it's, you have to go through it on your own, and yeah, I like to listen to your stuff and other people's stuff, because you could get a sense of where it could be. Because sometimes you don't know. You think like, oh, this is it, and it's not. You have to explore and listen to talk to your heart. Heart, what do you need today? What does my soul need today? And it's just one word. Ask yourself now. Take a deep breath in. What does my soul need today? And I just heard alignment from me, So
I heard love.
Oh, but people don't even realize it, that split second, and just take a breath, do the breath work. And I like to think of it like when you ask a question, if someone asks you a question, you answer right away, but is that really what you wanted or needed? So just take a moment before you answer, and just as you're inhaling, ask the question, what does my heart need? And as you exhale, listen for the answer. What is my soul? Because your heart needs stuff, your soul needs stuff, your energy needs stuff. Different layers of your body need stuff. What color food should I eat today? So ask yourself, what color food should I eat today would benefit me the most? And I heard yellow, So it's about practicing and just really getting to know yourself. And a lot of us don't do enough of that. I'm not saying we don't do it, but we don't always do enough of that.
And you said it. All it is just being present. Whether you're walking the dog, taking a shower, talking to somebody, being with yourself, it's just being present with what is. And it's very easier said than done sometimes, I know.
Absolutely. I'll go through days where I'm like, you get in a little rut in your head, and I wake up, I'm like, what the heck? I tell everybody else how to do this. Why am I not listening to my own? You forget, you get out of your own, practice sometimes. Or I was like, you hear yourself telling somebody else something. I'm like, oh, I think that advice is for me, as well as for them. But yeah, it's a process, and you just, don't beat yourself up, when you're supposed to rest. When you need to take action, go through it, let yourself cry if you need to, but don't get stuck there, because at the moment, usually there's, like you said, if you're in the present moment, there's nothing wrong, right? There's nothing wrong. I got my Starbucks here, my water here, I'm talking to you. It's beautiful. It's perfect, and like you said, it's not that easy all the time, but if you try to look at the bigger picture, don't get stuck in it. Don't get stuck in the drama, the toxicity, I don't know. It's a balance. It's not even a balance. It's just work. But a good work. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be heavy.
Yeah. For me, I will say the being present thing, it's challenging when things are good. It's challenging when things are bad. Absolutely. But I have found when I make myself, because discipline is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. There's always a shadow side to everything. But those moments I was able to find presence during rough times in my life, turbulent times, I should say, that was the deepest state of peace and contentment and presence that I've ever felt. Maybe they were only a few seconds, but that contrast of experiences, of emotions, of vibrations, my belief is that that's here for us to learn.
Yes.
That's why we're here. Because if we were only up in the high vibrations all the time, everywhere, great. But for me, I believe I'm here for a reason. Yes. This lifetime's a hero's journey, and it's continual. And it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to cry when you need to cry. And I feel like for me, at least, there's this quickening happening, especially the past, few years since COVID, because everybody's having to tune inward. Everybody is looking at these things that they've suppressed forever, whether at a macro, the world as a whole, or a micro level. Things are coming up, but things are coming up not to punish you, not because you've done something bad, because they're ready to be released, and they're ready to be open up to something new, something higher, something greater, more love, essentially.
Yeah, that's what it is. Love is super powerful, and everyone's starting to feel that calling, feel that whisper that there's something more. And it, like you said, it doesn't mean you're not going to have bad times, but it's really how you handle it. Like someone will be like, oh, I ran over a nail on my car, and they freak out like it's the end of the world. And I'm like, ugh, and to me, the car represents, the way it's shown to me, like, almost your body. Like in my dreams, when there's something in the car, like who's driving the car? If you're not driving the car, you're not in control. If you can't stop the car, it's going too fast. What are you doing at the wheel? The air conditioning is not going right. Something's not working. That means something's not working somewhere within me. And that is my frame of reference from my experience, from what I'm shown. So that might not be your symbol, because, and it's not every car. It's just my car in my dreams. Something's wrong with it. Something's off. That means something energetically is off in me. And that's how I view it. If I'm in the back seat or I let someone else drive, I'm letting them be in control of whatever that situation is. Doesn't mean it's bad. For me, it's not even a forewarning. It's just like, hey, pay attention to this. It's like, this is what's unfolding and that we can't see during the day, but in my dreams, now that I like my dreams, now I understand them. And there's many different dreams, and that's a whole other world. That's super exciting. But it's just growth. It's blooming, I said that the other day. I was in a little rut and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, what am I supposed to do, God? What am I supposed to? And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, show me what I'm supposed to do. What am I missing? But I was saying it all in my head. And then finally out loud, I said, God, tell me, what do I do? And as clear as day, and I could feel it in my heart, I heard bloom. And it's just a word, but the feeling and everything that came with it, and that I actually said, God, out loud, help me figure this out. What am I doing? Tell me what to do. Bloom. I just started crying because, like, internally, every part of my being was like, because I was like, so many ideas, so many things, and you feel like you're going and you're not making a difference. And that's all I want to do is touch somebody's heart or soul, let them experience something new. And so they can start being excited about life and just start looking at things a little bit different, open up their eyes, like just spiritual eyes, their energy and their light. And, and I don't always feel like this because apparently that time I wasn't. I was like, and then I said, but how do I bloom? And I just heard rise. And there was only 2 words within a second. But then I'm like, ooh, I started God, and because I don't hear him all the time. I've heard him before. I hear my other guys. God, I don't hear that often. I'll just hear the whisper and you kind of doubt yourself. Was that really God? Was that somebody else? Am I making that up? But it's not. This was just when you know. That to me, it's like, I'm not telling you what, trying to convince you what I see or do. I'm just saying, that's why I'm like, experience the grid of light activation, experience energy work, experience breath work, experience yoga. I've taught yoga for 10 years. Like, I love yoga, and I can't explain it to you. You have to do it. And it's a journey, and you could be absolutely terrible, but you're not, you're doing it. You're on the mat, right? You're connected, and it starts that baby step on the mat, do the breath work. It might not be for you. Try something else. It might just be outside. Go do something outside, but enjoy it. Start looking at what's good, what's right, what's beautiful, not what's wrong and who you're mad at. And just catch yourself complaining and cut that out. Even 5 minutes, just be like, oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful color. That's a beautiful, whatever. Look at the beauty. I don't know. Open up. That's all I feel like. All I feel like is my heart trying to open people's heart.
Yeah.
Bring that love in.
Bring the love. And what you said about yoga is what is true about life is, well, about all those examples is, you can't convince somebody, you can't tell them this is what the experience is like. You have to experience it yourself. Mm-hmm. And on that note, I just looked down and I'm like, oh my gosh, are we out of time already?
Goodness.
Was there anything?
We can talk about this forever.
I know. I
probably was like talking a little too much, but
no. You beautifully
Somebody's supposed to hear it.
Yeah. What was there anything else that you feel called that we need to wrap up or talk about before we close the show down today?
No, I feel good. I feel like energetically, whatever's supposed to happen, and I'm all about just sending the love, hold a sacred space for the listeners. So I'm so excited you had me here. I'm just excited about what's going on with our lives, our future, what we're focused on. And hopefully we get more people excited about that and get them experiencing what they need to experience at this time.
Amen to that. Well, thank you, Kymberly, for holding that space for us in so many ways today. And we close every show the same way. How may we, the listeners, as an act of gratitude, be of service for you in return today?
For me, it's just take the time to just go within your heart today. Even 5 minutes, as soon as you turn this off, just close your eyes and really just breathe into your heart. And I know it sounds like it's nothing, but it energetically, it shifts something inside you. Tell yourself, I love you, and just ask your heart, like a friend, like your best friend, ask your heart and your soul, what do you need? Every day, wake up and just be like, what do you need? What do you need? And take care of yourself. Take care of your body. Treat your body with kindness and compassion. Give yourself time to breathe and move, and just listen to the cycles. Don't beat yourself up, and just keep moving. Try to put that smile on the face, and just start to see all the blessings and the gifts unfold within your life.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
You're welcome, Kymberly. Thank you for coming on today. And remember, open up, surrender, trust, and let your body lead the way.